Mohammad Haris, the man they call Mr. Google, a player who absorbs knowledge like an algorithm, but bats with the recklessness of a street fighter. Still, for fans tired of Rizbar's cautious play, he was hope incarnate. But each time he throws his wicket away, the same question returns. Is Haris Pakistan's most misunderstood talent, or just not as smart as we thought? In today's cricket tape, we take a deep dive to find out. One of the core memories from Pakistan's 2022 run to the final of the T20 World Cup is Mohammad Haris' innings against South Africa. In a must-win match, Haris walked out with his future rival Mohammad Rizwan already back in the pavilion in just the first over. Now, put yourself in Haris' shoes for a moment. He had played just 4 international innings at this point with the highest score of just 7, and in he walked to join an out-of-form Babar Azam in the middle of a World Cup. Over the next 10 balls though, Haris would make the kind of impact that most players can only dream of. By the 11th, he was gone, but those 3 sixes and 2 boundaries that he hit would win the hearts and minds of fans forever. And in fact, he would even follow this up with another powerful show of intent, scoring 31 of 18 in a low chase against Bangladesh after the top 3 had all struggled for rhythm. And he would show his range with a 26 ball 30 in the semi-final against New Zealand. So far, so good, but it would get even better. After the World Cup, Haris would light up the PSL with 350 runs scored at an average of 31 and an unbelievable strike rate of 186. This included 250s with the best of 85. Haris, it seemed, was the real deal. Maybe Pakistan had actually found their answer to India's Surya Kumar Yadav. But just when it looked like the hype was real, he vanished. A T20 series against Afghanistan would follow immediately after the PSL. This was a chance for Haris to cement his place in the lineup. But on the slower pitches of Sharjah, he would average just 7. He would then get one more chance against New Zealand, in which he scored a duck. And after that, nothing. For 2 whole years. And it's not like Pakistan's T20 team was some well-oiled machine at this time. In fact, in between the 2 World Cups of 2022 and 2024, they would be winless in 5 out of 6 series, as well as suffer an early exit at the Asia Cup. Pakistan needed solutions. They had Mr. Google, but no one was searching. Haris though kept on fighting. He captained the Pakistan Shaheens to victory in the ACC Men's Emerging Cup, including crushing India in the final. He would score 250s during the tournament and topped the strike rate charts even in an ODI. But his average of 26 indicated a player that could be hit or miss. And unfortunately, his 2024 PSL campaign was his weakest ever, averaging just 16 as his strike rate fell down to 132. Despite his obvious talent, Haris was in danger of becoming another in the long list of wasted talent. And after his main competition for the wicketkeeper spot became captain of the T20 side, it seemed like the door was shut for a return. But Haris' luck was about to change. In 2024, having been overlooked for the tours of Australia, Zimbabwe and South Africa, Haris would get his chance to shine with the domestic T20 Champions Cup. And not only would he captain his team for the win, he would also return to form, finishing as the 7th highest run scorer, scoring 350s at an average of 33 and a strike rate of 152. And he would carry that form into PSL 2025, where he would average 27 at a strike rate of 149. And finally, after 2 years in the wilderness, Mohammad Haris returned to the national side for the tour of New Zealand in March 2025. It wasn't smooth sailing. He started off with a duck, and Pakistan were thrashed in the series. But this was a new Pakistan, a fearless Pakistan under Salman Ali Agha. And the one time Haris got off to a start, Pakistan won. Still, an average of 13 was nothing to write home about. But instead of dropping him, this time Pakistan persisted, and Haris would repay the faith by topping the scoring charts at home against Bangladesh, culminating in his first century, a blazing 107 of 46 balls featuring 8 fours and 7 sixes. So, has Haris silenced his critics? Or is there still some way to go? He definitely has all the shots, especially when the ball is coming onto the bat. But so far, his averages suggest a batsman who doesn't have the temperament or technique to grind out innings on slower pitches. His critics would argue that his runs have mostly come on flat pitches and he's yet to truly prove himself in tougher conditions. And his recent failures in Bangladesh on low scoring, tricky surfaces have done him no favours. So far, he seems to play his best in one particular situation, which is during the power play on flat wickets. This is also reflected in the massive difference in his home and away stats, as well as his alarming average whenever Pakistan lose the toss and are sent into bat, usually in tougher conditions. And that's a problem, because the idea of Haris, a young, explosive wicketkeeper batsman with leadership potential, ultimately needs to match the style with substance. Because even in T20s, it isn't always about strike rate. Sometimes the conditions demand a Babar type innings of 40 of 29 rather than a 20 of 10. The greats of the format, of course, like Sky, can do both. For starters though, Haris needs to display the kind of maturity that Hassan Nawaz did in the recent PSL, where he finished off multiple chases by taking the game deep, including showing off impressive skills against spin. With the Asia Cup in the UAE, Haris will also need to show an adaptability to conditions where the pitches are slower and the ball doesn't come onto the bat. Of course, his ultimate test will come at next year's T20 World Cup in India, where conditions will vary from the flat pitches of Mumbai to the sluggish surfaces of Chennai. And if matches shift to neutral venues like Sri Lanka, Haris's power game may be blunted on the slow turning wickets. To succeed on those pitches, Haris will need to adapt his game to focus on strike rotation, something that he was unable to do on the slow pitches in Bangladesh. So, what's the verdict? While the other batsmen of his generation, such as Saim Ayub and Hassan Nawaz, display the traits to become all-format batters, Haris still feels like he hasn't quite made the mental step up. If he chooses the route of becoming a T20 specialist, then the spectre of the reliable Rizwan will always be looming in the background, a few performances away from a comeback. And unlike Pakistan's only batter to finish his career with a 150 strike rate, Shahid Afridi, who had his bowling to cement his place in the team, Haris has the challenge of filling the gloves of Rizwan, who might just be Pakistan's greatest ever wicketkeeper. And he hasn't exactly proven himself to be a safe pair of hands just yet. Of course, it's easy to say that Haris should slow down and play with more maturity, but that also risks confusing him further and ultimately neutering his aggressive instincts. Haris might be destined to dazzle, but can he ever truly dominate? At 24, he still has time on his side, but if things keep going the way they are, Babar and Rizwan might be back in business. The only thing we know for sure is that Mr. Google's algorithm needs some tweaking. So, what do you think? Does Haris need to change his game, or should Pakistan just back him? Or should Pakistan just ditch fearless cricket and go back to the reliability of Rizbar? Hit like if you still believe in Haris's potential, and subscribe for more unfiltered cricket stories. As always, we'll see you next time with more cricket tapes.